Hi, in this tutorial, I will explain how to do the at-home activity on map analysis. It can be broken into two parts. The first one, you will be analyzing the Globit Night map that you see here. The link is provided in the PDF. So once you have the map in front of you, what you are going to do is type in the area where you made your own observation. In my case, it was Colorado Springs, Colorado, and I'm going to put a radius of 20 kilometers, which is about 12 miles. Once I've done that, what will come up is a map of the area and the dot that I had done, which is right here. And there's the details of it. And you'll see that I had a limiting magnitude of 3. And then in answering the questions, I have to look around and see, is there anybody else who's done a recording? Now, you might be able to see that there's a dot right here in the middle of the word Springs. I'm also going to look on the satellite because sometimes you see it a little bit better, and I see it's still there. So I'm going to type on that one. In that case, that person had a limiting magnitude of 2. So having that information, I should be able to answer the questions that follow in that section of the PDF. So basically the answer to the question, one of the questions is that that other person had more light pollution than I did at my location. And to be honest, that doesn't surprise me because I was right up against a really nice park where there isn't a lot of light. Okay, the next section is going to be looking at a map of the US as a whole. So you're going to be zooming back out and looking at the big map again. So you can go ahead and do that next. Me to look at the map of the US as a whole and to pick an area with a lot of measurements. So I have decided after looking at this that I'm going to pick the area of Rockville, Maryland. And as you can see, there's the name Rockville. And I'm going to go ahead and type that in. And I'm going to pick a radius of 20 kilometers again. Okay, so then it shows you right there. And now I'm going to set it to satellite viewing because I can see it better on the dark background. You would write down the name in your journal, and then I'm looking at then filling out the table that is provided in the handout and also in the light pollution pages. Here it is. And what I'm going to do now is fill out the frequency column based on what I see in the map. And let me show you how to do that. So in order to do the frequencies, I actually have clicked only the limiting magnitude of 0. And now I'm going to count the dots 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then I put that as the frequency in my table. I then do that for each of the different limiting magnitudes that are actually present here on this map. That includes limiting magnitude 1, 2, 3, 4, and nothing at 5 or above. I have filled out my table here with the data that I just calculated for the frequency at the different limiting magnitudes. And then the next thing you need to do is find the mean of all of the frequencies so that you can determine what the average magnitude is for that location. So in order to do that, what you're going to do is you're going to multiply any given magnitude by the frequency of that data point, and that product you're going to put here. So 0 times 10 is 0, 1 times 16 is 16, 2 times 9 is 18, 3 times 4 is 12, and 4 times 5 is 20. I then add up all those products and add up all the frequencies. And when I divide these two, I should be able to calculate the mean. And so in my case, 66 divided by 44 equals 1.5. That is the average magnitude in Rockville, Maryland. And what that means is there is a lot of light pollution in the Rockville, Maryland area. Finally, you should take a look at the US map and try to identify areas of low light pollution. So you might want to toggle only maybe LM6 and LM7 and take a look. And when you do, try to see where these localities are and what you notice about the landscape of these locations. In addition, don't be afraid to actually use data from not just this calendar year, but they do have data from many different years represented. And so if you find yourself maybe at the beginning of a particular year, it might be better to look at a previous year to get more data. So that's it for this section of the lesson. Finally, for the second part of this exercise, what I'd like you to do is survey the New World Atlas of Artificial Sky Brightness. This atlas is computed using software that incorporates high resolution satellite data and precision sky brightness measurements. It will, if you click on the link in the PDF, it will take you to the US. But what I want you first to do is to scroll around and look at the different countries and continents of the world. And you can do that by just moving around the whole thing. And you will notice that certain continents and certain countries have much less light pollution than other areas. So once you've kind of picked an area that you're interested in, you can go ahead and zoom in on it, and you can see much more at a granular level what is located there. And in that area, you can just answer those questions. Then what I'd like you to do is the second part of this activity. In this section, you're going to look at the US as a whole. You're going to be asked to compare the eastern and western halves of the US, as well as looking at the map legend that is located right below the sky map. So take a look at that and what the colors represent. Then what you want to do is look at any individual city and notice the pattern of brightness that you might see. And finally, use the plus and minus buttons up at the top here to zoom into the area where you live. And what you can do then as you zoom in is describe your area and find out whether or not your particular spot actually has a lot of light pollution or not. And how does it compare to people you know who live in the area? So that's the end of this particular exercise. I hope you enjoy it.